you check the children. Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show Anniversary Week.
Woo!
I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Marcia Parker.
Susie von Slaughter.
I mean, Fuego here.
Davey Death Ray.
That's right. As you know, through Anniversary Week, I've been trying to represent sort of all the different iterations of the horror show, and most recently, Davey Death Ray has been sort of a almost fixture on the channel with as much as he's come and help us out with, especially the Godzilla material, which has done very well for the channel. So I wanted to do a review with as many people that had time to watch this film as we could, and this turned out to be the five of us that was able, or that were able to watch this film. This film, by the way, has been out for a number of months, and I kept hearing that it was worth your time, but I just never delved deeper than that on the reviews, and I was like, all right, well, let me give this a try. And so today we're going to be talking about Influencer from 2023. It is available on Shudder, and I think that this one is worth talking about because it tends to be, in my opinion, sort of more unique. Like, we've seen this story before from the initial point of view, right? We start off following this social media influencer who's down in Thailand, Madison, and she's doing all the influencer things, visiting wonderful restaurants and, you know, a don't you wish you were me sort of situation.
Oh, look, this is how I start out my day.
Right.
A simple breakfast.
Right.
Simple breakfast.
But the movie turns and becomes sort of from the point of view of the stalker, the person that's trying to get that person. Like, you know, if Single White Female was about Jennifer Jason Leigh instead of Bridget Fonda.
Yep.
To use an extremely old movie reference.
Well, that's what I was gonna reference too. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Single White Female, and you know, made me very cautious when I was on my roommate selections as I grew up. But yeah, it's a more modern day version of it
From the other perspective, right? And so I really enjoyed it, and I'm not sure, do you know the actresses' names off the top of your head, or did you know? Okay. One of the actresses actually has a small role in It's a Wonderful Knife, if anyone else caught that for this Christmas season.
The same actress.
Yeah, well, yeah, she's got a pretty discernible
which is something
feature.
which is something we'll get into.
But yeah, so
that was a real feature?
yeah,
Yes.
that's really an actual birthmark that she has. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she has the same condition my son has. He has that same thing under his arm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I told him, I was like, look, somebody who has the same thing. I was like, look how famous she became. Yeah, because he's self-conscious.
So yeah, this we're influencer overall thoughts, right? Because we always start with our overall thoughts. I enjoyed the film. I liked the perspective that it took, and it sort of is like, okay, things aren't always easy for the other side of the coin. They have to make, you know, decisions and changes to their plan as things change for them. But I enjoyed this film. I thought it was a unique one in the space of the, you know, stalker situation that we've seen before.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me of I didn't watch all of the seasons, but the first season of You, right, where you have one perspective and then you switch it to the other perspective, but in a more contained environment. That show kind of derailed for me, and I couldn't follow it very long. But this was really well put together, as well shot, well acted, and the twists that came about were unexpected. I didn't feel like I thought that was predictable. Like, I felt like it was kind of unexpected and well written, and just really cool to watch. Like I said, I'm a fan of the Single White Female movies, and watching how that can unravel and come together, and I love the ending. I thought the ending was a pretty good.
Well, it's a ballsy first. Like, you don't see the credits of the film until
like
after
30
like
minutes in. Yeah, because I saw it. I was like,
I
it
noticed
was like 30 minutes in that it started showing the credits. I was like,
But it's like, I like that because it's putting their balls on the table. We're like, this is the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you've stuck in and you think it's something you've seen before, but no, this is it.
I feel like
and I
that's a
love
new
the lead up
trend.
to it when they're having their discussion the night before, and she's like, here's what's going to happen.
Campfire,
And then the other one just starts
Yes.
laughing, and I was like, ooh, no, I think that's what's going to happen.
And that's
Yeah.
where
And then what I loved was the 4 weeks later, you know, because
Yeah.
it was like, oh shit, so
4 weeks
we're just
later.
to assume that Dunzo kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Like,
So
what
Susie,
happened?
yeah,
I
your
don't know. Okay,
overall
so
thoughts.
for me personally, I knew it was going to happen at the end. I knew,
I had a
knew
feeling
that
too.
was coming,
I thought
Yeah.
so
but
too.
I was still excited to see how,
Right,
it
how it unfolded, yeah.
Like I knew it was happening, so I was just waiting for it. Like you can just kind of tell. But even though like I was like, I know this is going to happen, I wanted to see.
It's still so satisfying when it
Yeah,
does.
I wanted to see how it was going to unfold.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, no, I loved that it was from the perspective of the stalker and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and the fact that, like, you know, it still showed, like, shit can go down. Like, how is she going to handle that? And I think it was done really well. I really liked it.
Touches on the themes of AI that are, you know,
Oh
Yeah.
coming out
God,
nowadays,
it's scary, man.
Yeah.
Because there's even this show that I saw on Netflix where it takes couples and it uses AI and it shows the you know, someone in a couple like you. It will show like a video of Pete making out with another girl, but it's not really Pete. But they use AI and put his face on it and it looks real. And so these people had to discern. And it's true, AI. You can't even believe a video anymore. Like. There's no
It's a trip.
evidence because it's all fabricated. It's wild, man.
Fuego, your overall thoughts?
You know, it was a film of peaks and valleys for me because it was like, I'm like, okay, it's a little predictable. I'm not liking what they're doing. But then they would snap me into place. Like there's when a character emerges all of a sudden and kind of thwarts her and throws off our antagonist plans and stuff. And so right when they would start to lose me, they would do something that got me re-engaged. The third act I was a little more critical of because of the predictability you mentioned, but also because there's a flashback where I feel like epitomized what the film was trying to say about influencers and
Yeah.
plucking them from obscurity and stuff. And I mean, I honestly wanted more of that as opposed to just that singular scene. But you know, very well made. I couldn't help but compare it to another film about social media influencers called Sissy that came out a
Yeah, I
year
haven't
ago,
seen that,
which
yeah.
I much prefer. But this was still, I mean, decently done, and I gave it a positive grade on Letterboxd. So there you go.
Davey?
Yeah, I'm kind of like right in the middle. Probably same as Fuego, like peaks and valleys. So I just, you know, there are certain things I liked about it. I thought some of the acting, maybe they could have gotten better performances out of some of the scenes, I think, you know, where every now and then an actor's performance just didn't really do it for me. I thought the idea of the story is a pretty creative twist on like what you're talking about, that whole, you know, basically assuming somebody else's identity and how far we can push it now in our age. But I felt like maybe it was just better suited for like a Black Mirror episode or like a Twilight Zone kind of thing, and then maybe like an hour-and-a-half movie for me was a bit too long.
Gotcha.
That it was just stretched out a little too thin. But
feel you.
I liked some of the musical choices, like the less clubby kind of music, like really set the mood for me. And I mean, the camera work, technically, it looks really good. You know, making a film is a hard thing, and yeah, they did a good job with that. I just felt like maybe a condensed, smaller runtime or a different kind of platform for this sort of story would have had me hooked for the entire duration. It would have had like all those hits, and I would have walked away being like, wow, what a cool little like vignette.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. So yeah, I mean, we've danced around it a bit. The story is about a social media influencer who meets a woman with a birthmark on her face, and they become friends. And then, unfortunately, the influencer is betrayed by the other woman, who then tries to essentially take over her life. And it's about the other woman trying to get this done and not be discovered, and new wrinkles keep popping up, including the influencer's boyfriend, who was not supposed to be in the picture. He gets into the picture, and
was
other
who I
things
had-
along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, he was who I had some mixed feelings about because first you're not supposed to like him and then you are supposed to like him,
Yeah.
and I still didn't buy when you were supposed to like him, honestly, but you know, whatever.
But I mean, that's the long and short of it. This evil stalker woman is trying to get away with it, and things keep going wrong. So it's interesting in that way. Again, we don't usually see this perspective in these kinds of films. So I appreciated the way the story unfolded. Is there anyone that didn't like how it unfolded, or were we all happy with kind of the story being different?
I was happy with the story. And I haven't been watching a lot of movies, so that might have been my impact too. Like, I have not been watching horror movie after horror movie after horror movie anymore. I've been rinsing my palate, as you can say. So,
Yeah.
this coming in, it was refreshing to watch something about, you know, a little more low key, not so like stabby.
Visceral,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was more psychological
and
thriller, right?
a lot of stuff that's coming out now are about murdering children and stuff, and I can't do that. So watching this, I was like,
You
this
can't
is
murder
good.
kids?
No, I can't.
Jeez, we.
I always appreciate the boldness when they do, but
No, it's like I can't get away. Like almost,
I know,
I can't
yeah.
get away from that. And I'm like, finally, it's about women getting murdered. Like going back to
Yeah.
the roots.
Yeah.
They're grown.
Jealous
It's okay.
bitches. Like,
Yeah, but no,
There's
I
the
thought
story.
when it comes to the story and unfolding, I thought it did well, and I can see where you guys are talking because there's a lot of montages. Maybe one or two instead of 3 or 4 montages would have been a better suit for the film. But I thought it was. I enjoyed the story.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
alright.
it.
And then we had the acting, right? It seems like there was some inconsistencies as far as how I didn't find anyone that really took me out of the film. I didn't necessarily like every character, but that's not on the actor. That's them doing their job and making me not like the character.
Yeah.
So I thought the acting was well done. It was a beautifully made movie. As far as cinematography goes, very accomplished.
Really
just to jump in though with the acting aspect,
Yeah, please.
you know, something that I think might be triggerish for a few people is the fact that a disfigured character, you know, since I just took this race and both race and gender in media studies class, and having a disfigured person be villainous may upset some people. Just to mention it, I mean, I don't know. It was one thing that I could see. Some
You gotta be
people
careful. I
taking
don't know that
exception
she
with.
would consider herself disfigured.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. Like,
Well, I'm just.
she has a birthmark.
Yeah,
that doesn't
yeah,
necessarily make her disfigured.
It's called epidermal nevus.
Yeah.
I know this.
Yeah.
Because my son has the same thing under his arm. So it's
I had just
like,
seen some other
yeah.
mentions when I was reading some other people's thoughts about it. They were just like, "Oh, why do you have to put this sort of character in a villainous role?" I know it's
fair.
just a topic open for debate.
She
I think.
as a counterpoint to that, she was not villainous in It's a Wonderful Knife.
She wasn't. She was the wife of the.
She was like the best
sister,
friend
I
of one of
think.
the something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I
thought
won't
she
say
was a
who, but I spoke
fantastic,
about.
actress.
Yeah. She was great.
When it works with the story, that's like the most important thing, because I do see that people, like what you're saying, people are like, why is it always the villains or people that there's something different about them physically, so we're just that now they're a villain.
Yeah.
But it totally makes sense with the character, because you have a character that sort of like denigrates the life of these influencers, but also there's like the reason why she's doing it seems to be that maybe she wishes she had that.
Yeah,
kind of
well, I
life.
mean,
Yeah.
inherently
And
she
so-
can't be that.
Yeah, so
And
the
that's
fact
where
that she
because
looks
of her.
different,
Or
you
she
don't know
thinks
why.
she can't.
She
be
thinks
that.
she
She
can.
thinks
Yeah.
they can.
'Cause
Yeah,
she's
so I
like-
think
she's
today,
beautiful.
like,
Yeah, oh,
absolutely.
massive.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
like,
nowadays, for
absolutely
sure.
could, but
She's
she
beautiful.
probably just has this internalized, you know, because people are shitty.
Yeah, and like just to
Kids are
jump
shitty.
back to her performance though, like she was a fascinating character for me, the most fascinating of everybody in there, because I felt like our heroes, so to speak, were hollow in this. She was the most interesting, and the
Agreed,
fact that
yeah.
at one point somebody even says to her, "You obviously come from money. You're rich to be able to be down here and doing this." And I wanted a little bit more exploration of that as far as the story goes, like her backstory,
That
how
I
she
have to
came
agree
into this
with.
She
position.
just
you know?
she just kept stealing from influencers. That's how she was able to subsist down
Yeah,
there.
it seems like
she'd
she
already
kept
done
on.
it to like 4 other people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
she
and
had
also
the
her
poster
attempt at
board.
another person I thought was an interesting wrinkle to it
Yeah,
as
I
well.
thought that was interesting to
Yeah.
see how that where it doesn't go perfectly
And how that person
for her.
Yeah, I
saw
like
right
that they
through
actually
her.
showed that. Yeah.
Or like she's like, "Where are you going?" It's like, "Oh,
I'm just
you
like,
weird me out."
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
essentially.
You're creepy.
Yeah, she
This is
saw
gonna
right through
work.
her shit, man.
Kind of a bit of an American Psycho kind of
Yeah,
feeling.
a
little bit, yeah.
little Patrick Bateman kind of
Yep.
feeling
Mhm.
with that, for sure.
Less refined.
Yeah.
But
well,
yeah.
and not as over the top. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So, I mean, other than that, there's not a whole lot else to say about this without getting into spoilery material. I mean, the effects-wise,
There's really no gore.
not
in
a
this
lot to
movie at
talk
all.
about.
There's
No.
a cutaway during one kill, which is the only noteworthy bit. So, yeah.
But, I mean, I do think it's very much worth your time. If you haven't seen Influencer, it's available on Shudder, and it is a worthwhile watch from a different perspective than we normally see in films like this.
Yep.
So, any final thoughts on it from anyone else?
I mean, it has a lot to say as far as commentary of influencers, how interesting, how deserving, things of that nature. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, we're all influencers.
Are we though?
Yeah, I was like, maybe I'm just like a little too old to be like wowed by this. But if I were in my 20s or something and I saw this, I might just be like completely over the moon. So
Yeah, blown
it could
away.
be a little bit of a generational thing that I've seen similar stuff like this before, but with the way the times were when I was a kid. So yeah, I mean, I can certainly appreciate the fact that, you know, not
The
every...
bad I'm rooting for the stalker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
got-
yes,
yeah.
get rid of that.
Yes, it is bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those nasty inclinations have just been enabled with these technological advancements.
Yeah.
I think. So,
Basically, yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for our review of Influencer. If you've seen it, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Try and keep it spoiler-free like we did the review, but we think it's worth your time, and we wanted to, again, this whole week has been about representing the original format from the first and second season of the channel just for 1 week here in January, and I'm very glad that Marcia was able to swing by and be a part of it. I appreciate all of you guys being a part of it. Davey, thank you for representing sort of the more recent version of the show while Fuego's been in school.
Schooling it up,
Susie's
yeah.
been busy, and Marcia's been out of state. So, yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. I'm not sure 100% as we record this if we're going to have a blooper reel. That is ideally what I want to have to present tomorrow. But if not, at the very least, on Sunday, you're seeing this Friday, but on Sunday, January 21st, we're going to be doing a live stream with the complete crew, if we possibly can. That was supposed to be the idea behind the live stream today, but 2 of the members of the team couldn't make it, so maybe we can do that. We will be piping Marcia in remotely from her spot across the country for that live stream, but we will see you all then in just 2 days if there's not a blooper episode tomorrow. So thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Marcia Parker.
Susie von Slaughter.
Gracias, I mean, Fuego.
And I'm Davey Deathray.
And remember, guys,
Stay
scared.